would like to start with you. Well, in Druidry, the natural world plays a central role. How does your connection to nature contribute to your inner well-being and resilience?
Okay. Yeah. Hi, everyone. Thank you for that question. Right. Yes. Druidry is really diverse. There's so many different ways to see the world, to view the world. It's a spiritual way of life. And I trained with OBOD, which is the Order of Bards, Ovates, and Druids. And within that, they talk about three, and there probably are more, but three ways of working in the world, and also creating inner well-being, inner strength. Excuse me. One of these things, one of these yearnings that we have is to commune with the world of nature in a very deep way. Another of these is to be creative in our lives, whatever that might mean to us. And the other is to find a connection or a source of wisdom, be that God, goddess, or just nature itself. So for me, I within the order and within Druidry in general, I'm a bard. So I fit into the category of the poet, the songwriter, the artist, someone who likes to perform and share that during ritual. So I use this creativity to connect with nature, to connect with the source of creativity, with the source of all life, with the source of all beings. And this connection with nature in particular, which involves everything, everyone and everything, is all existence is part of the natural world. And to connect with this gives resilience and gives strength to your inner being. If you are disconnected, then you're not going to be as strong and healthy as you would like to be. And it's really difficult to stay connected in these times. But for Druids, this is one way to do it, is to connect with nature, to connect with ourselves, and to connect with the source of all wisdom. And the part that I usually read out during ritual, and I've done this with interfaith rituals and celebrations as well, especially for this time of year, which is Imbolc. The season of Imbolc is the season of first stirrings. This is about some little woodland creatures. All through the darkness, small beings gather up the tiny sparks of the sun, almost extinguished, but not quite. They take the embers and gently place them in their seed lanterns, and they start to walk, one by one. They come out and gather together, the Lightbringers, the bearers of spring. So this is, the whole story is wonderful for adults and children. But this is a really good introduction to how we might use our connection to nature to look forward to what is coming, to be stronger within ourselves, to find hope.
Thank you so much. That was really beautiful, Linda. Well, Druidic practices often emphasize mindfulness and reflection. Could you share a specific ritual or practice you use to maintain mental peace and stability during challenging times, please?
Okay, sure. Yes. One of the things that we do, whether it is alone or in a group of people, is to create a ritual in which we connect with the wider world and nature and with ourselves. I would tend to use the word awareness versus mindfulness. Mindfulness tends to, belongs to a certain teaching or teachings at this time. I think some Druids might use that term, but I think I prefer to take that out of the picture and use awareness perhaps and connection, if that's okay. So yes, Druidic practices do emphasize awareness and reflection as well as connection. Joining together or alone, you can form a circle with your friends, your co-ritualists, your family, or when you're alone, you can create a circle around yourself that gives you sacred space. It gives you time to reflect, time to think, time to share, and so on. So that you can improve that connection. So ritual is very important, whether it's alone or in a group. One of the things that we can do while in a circle is to think of the season that we're following. And by season, it can be simply the spring, summer, winter, fall, or it can follow, in the case of Druidry, Celtic tradition. So we're coming up to Imbolc, which is the first stirrings, as I said. And at this time, we're coming from winter, looking towards spring, but we're not quite there yet. So while we're in the circle, we might have, for example, an invocation, which is inviting in others, inviting in the divine, if you like. Some people are animists, so it might be inviting in spirits, the spirit of place. It might be inviting in the ancestors to join us in a ritual. And I've taken one of Caitlin Matthews' invocations for a threshold to creating a sacred space. And I'll just read that to you. Here we go. It says, midwife of mystery, open the door. Infant of the infinite, come you in. Let there be welcome to the newborn truth. Let there be welcome to the spring of the year. In cold and darkness you are traveling. In warmth and brightness you will arrive. May the blessed time of Imbolc kindle the soul of all beings, bringing birth to innocence and integrity. From the depths to the heights, from the heights to the depths, in the heart of every soul. So that gives you an idea of how we might begin one of our rituals and go into a time of reflection, meditation, and connection.
Thank you so much for answering my question, Linda. Well, what you read was really beautiful. As Linda, the Druid community, as you also mentioned, has a strong focus on connection and harmony, as well as other communities as well. How do you bring these principles of peace and resilience into your community, particularly in times of social or environmental problems?
Okay. Yes, I mean, this is a really good question. It's a question that we need. And I must say, before I say anything about myself, I'm really enjoying and getting a lot out of what the other two speakers are saying. So I can't wait for the rest of this. So anyway, Druids, I think what you see in the media, what you see in stories is a bunch of, old white men with beards and white robes at Stonehenge doing who knows what, celebrating the rise of the sun. And okay, there are Druids that do that, and that's absolutely fine. That's part of who we are, but we're way more than that. I'm a bard, as I said, but there are also Ovates, and there are Druids, and there are people who don't fit into any of these categories. So I focus on the arts. The arts are my thing, and that's where I try to make a connection with other people, and people of other faiths and so forth. But there are people who work in medicine, who are natural healers, who are doctors, who are, who work as therapists. So you have a wide variety of caring people in that, who might be called an Ovate. And then you have those who might be considered Druids, or who identify as Druids, and they are the negotiators, the peacekeepers. They may go into law. They, they could very well become scientists. Any one of these groups could go into science, as well as fitting into their particular vocation. I'm studying with the Anglesey Druid Order at the moment, and Christopher Hughes is encouraging us to look at this, how we're crossing over. So yes, I focus on the arts, but can I use this in my work in interfaith to engage with others and create collaboration, to create peace and harmony? How can I cross over into negotiation, with engaging with other people, communicating in positive ways, and so forth? So when I look at, the principles of peace, that peace is extremely important in Druidry. Harmony, as you say, the connection is extremely important. One of the things that I try to do, as I said, is I try to share little pieces from our rituals that emphasize the fact that we focus on these. Not a lot of people know what Druidry is about. As I said, it can get quite deep, and it is all about connection. And I'll give you two little brief bits of ritual that might help. One is taking a breath. When we're in a circle, we take 3 breaths together. And this connects us with each other, but also with the environment that we're in, and helps us to respect each other and the environment, in my opinion. So we say, and feel free if you want to join in with this, together with the earth beneath us, together with the sky above us, together with the sea, the forest, the desert around us, with the blessings of earth, sea, and sky, we are here together today. So that's one example where it's not just about the words. There are motions, and sometimes we're holding hands. There are ways to keep that going, and to focus on a particular issue as well. I mean, something like that will help you to focus on what we're doing to the earth, for example. And then we also have the Druid prayer for peace. I was going to save this for last, but I'm going to do it now. So we're thinking of moving from in here outward and back in again, whether we're alone or with a group. Deep within the still center of my being, may I find peace. Silently, within the quiet of the grove, may I share peace. And gently, within the greater circle of humankind, may I radiate peace. And then there's often chanting of Awens, which we do 3 times. And again, Awen, and that's on the slides that I have, is inspiration. It's the breath of inspiration that flows through all life. So bringing us together. And when I look at what's happening to the world, I can see that inspiration, that breath of life, is being stifled in so many ways. For us to gather together and to speak that breath of Awen, that inspiration around us and with each other, it's a very powerful thing. So we can be a scientist, a lawyer, a teacher, we can be a healer, a doctor, an artist, a singer, a songwriter, a poet. We can do all of those things, but we all have that breath that we can share and use that to change, make positive changes. So I would bring that into one of the rituals, and I bring that into interfaith as well.
Thank you so much, Linda. I have a tiny question here. Do you use also, I don't know, instrumental tools or like sounds or music? Just I think it goes here. If you could clarify that, please. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that I included in my slides was we have a lot of bards. I'm one, but I don't play a musical instrument other than a drum. But we do have people who we have Dav the Bard, who is a very famous bard in pagan Druid circles, and he's amazing. He writes these incredible songs about nature. So there's someone who goes around and performs and draws in people and shares these thoughts that I'm sharing now. But we all, as I said, we also have this voice, this tool within us. Everyone has that to some extent. Even if you don't have the ability to speak, you can sign, you can dance, you can walk. So you can use your body as a tool in many cases where you cannot play an instrument. So I don't know if my voice will hold out, but I will try this. And I know you've heard me do this before, right? Other people have too, and hopefully I don't scream. So that was an example of an Awen, and we would chant that around in a circle 3 times, and it's amazing the quality of that sound can become so moving, and you can feel it in your feet, you can feel it in your head, you can feel it in your heart when we're all doing it together. But even doing it by myself, I love it. And I actually think that sound, music, whatever form it takes, can make a difference. Yeah.
Absolutely. And thank you for sharing this with us. I believe so sound or music is really, really therapeutic and meditative as well. Thank you for answering my question.